All right, I've been feeling led to share more of my own personal stories, as well as share a bit more on Cometicism. So, today I want to talk about the Sekhmet Codes. Sekhmet, to the secular world, is known as the goddess of destruction in the Egyptian mythology, but she's actually a bit more than that. Her role is much more important, and she's actually compatible with who the Christians know as Holy Spirit, at least an aspect of her. Now, I've been open about my relationship with God. I've been having a face to face relationship with the royal family since 2017. Yeshua was one of the later people that I finally met back in 2019. But actually seeing Holy Spirit, seeing the Father, seeing angels, seeing members from the cloud of witnesses, and all types of other things, that began for me 2017, 2018. And I remember the first time that I actually met who I now know as Mother. Most people just know her as Holy Spirit and don't even know that she's a she. By the way, I grew up Baptist, so uh, my understanding of Holy Spirit was purely masculine. At this point of my life, I had no reason to believe that Holy Spirit was a masculine entity by any means. I grew up Baptist. We pretty much worship the King James Bible. Holy Spirit is a he in the King James Bible. So I was fully indoctrinated at that point. I want to emphasize that. So I remember one day I'm standing in my room because I was always in my room praying and just engaging the Spirit. And I remember I went into an open vision almost. It was, I guess you could say, briefly. And then Holy Spirit stepped into my room. Uh, and this form that she took, I call her the Menoran priest, where she looked like a menorah, but in humanoid form, where there were seven tufts of fire. Her eyes were fire. Her hair was fire. She had little flames of fire on different parts of her body, and if you counted, it'd be seven altogether. And I remember she had on these golden robes. In a certain way, it kind of looks like armor a bit because it's shiny, and I believe it's made of actual gold. And she had bronze skin. Uh, and it was at that moment I was like, "Oh, you're Holy Spirit. You're a she." And it was at that moment a bunch of verses started to make sense for me. Being born of the Spirit, well, men can't give birth. Okay. Brooding over the waters. Okay, men don't brood. El Shaddai, the all-breasted one. Okay, that's not a dude. That's mother. Holy Spirit is our mother. Okay, he. At this time, I still called him Jesus because I didn't know any better. And I was like, okay, so Jesus is the son. He has a father. Well, he must have a mother. Holy Spirit's the mother. Okay, I understand this. So that was when it began for me. Mind you, I was not as bold as I am now to say that out in public. That was my little secret for like the next 3-4 years. I didn't really start talking about mother in public till around 2021, maybe late 2020. Like I kept that to myself. So I want to read for you an encounter I had back in January of last year. Because this is what I mean when I say I have actual meetings, actual visitations. I have a real face to face relationship with God, or with the royal family, and have been for several years. And I promise this has to do with Sekhmet. So this was January 29th of 2023. I have the story on my Patreon for free, by the way. But check out the Patreon. Links in the description down below. So this day, I went into my office to pray and remembered that it had been a while since I had actually seen Mother. So I decided to go meet with her. I went into the inner court, which is a separate dimension, a separate realm altogether. I went into the inner court, and she was seated before a giant menorah and a beautiful throne. She told me to sit as a chair appeared behind me. I sat down and went to start my usual one-on-one dialogue. but my thoughts kept getting interrupted. She was actually silencing me to get my full attention. So I began to focus on her and just open myself up and allowed myself to fully get captivated by her. She had waves of energy pulsing and flowing from her, and the waves started to wash over me. She began to teach me about love. She said that love is an all-consuming, all-accepting, all-transforming fire. While she's saying this, she's showing me a scene of a wildfire expanding as she was talking. She reminded me that fire is used to purify what it comes in contact with. She says something along the lines of, "Is it not love to want to see everything in its purest, most holy form?" She made sure that I remember that love must be all accepting and all transforming. We have to meet everyone and everything where it is and how it is in order for it to be purified and transformed into its most holy form. That's a mouthful on its own. I could do a series off of that part. But I thought something along the lines of, how do we keep this fire from going out? How does this fit within your role as priest? She responded by saying, "I am still imperial. Fire is an all-consuming fire." The entire time that this is happening, I'm still getting hit by the waves coming from her heart. So then I asked her, how do I or we stay or become pure? Because we're thinking here. It's not even a verbal conversation. She's not letting me actually speak. It's too much going on. She then responded to me and said, "Let love do all the work. Keep your heart open and let it flow." So that's not a recent encounter. That was a while ago now. But that was an encounter I had with Mother. What does this have to do with Sekhmet? Well, Sekhmet actually is a manifestation or a presentation of the heart, the feminine nature of creation. I've taught for some time concerning sonship that the journey is to learn to feel how Mother feels and think how Father thinks, to obtain the mind of the Father, but the heart of the Mother. Well, Sekhmet, honestly, fully encapsulates the heart of the Mother. She's depicted with a lion head, and in some myths, she's presented as bloodthirsty. And before I knew any better, this freaked me out a bit. I'm like, well, I see the obvious parallels, but the Holy Spirit I know isn't bloodthirsty. So what's going on? Well, I was talking to her today actually about it, and I was like, what's going on here? Help me understand this. If you are bloodthirsty, so be it. But what's really going on? She said, it's a myth. It's a metaphor. I'm like, okay, so what's really going on? She said, that story is the archetype of the heart in general. It's revealing the triune nature of the heart in a few different aspects. The bloodthirsty nature presented there more so represented the feminine nature, or, well, the feminine organ that is the heart. The heart is bloodthirsty. That's when it's healthy. Its role is to receive and pump blood. The heart is supposed to have blood. So she's saying in that depiction, it deals more with the function of the heart than it does with actual violence. And then she's like, the end of the myth is her becoming intoxicated. And then she becomes compassionate. She becomes overflowing with love. She said, that's the true nature of myself. I'm not overwhelming violence per se. I'm an all-consuming love, which is an all-consuming power. I've actually said this on Discord, Discord link in the description down below. But what makes us all one, what makes us our journey in a way, being parts of the Father and part of the Mother, we are what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, and Mother is the unstoppable force. She's love incarnate. Love is the most powerful force in all existence. So in a way, even the bloodthirsty presentation was also indicative of the unstoppable nature of love. That when it's in full effect, nothing can actually stop it. But that also reveals the coding. When you're actually dealing with the heart, you're dealing with the largest electromagnetic organ in the physical body. One of the most powerful chakras that you have is the heart. The radius that you put out, the information that goes out into the world, the largest message comes from the heart. It reaches the farthest. What you think in your mind affects a short distance. What you think from your heart affects a great region around you. I believe it stretches out to about 8 to 10 feet. Which means you're literally communicating the things in your heart to the world around you. So the journey of fully embracing the aspect of mother is to synchronize your heart with her heart. A beautiful science that I found out some years ago is that when people hug for over 21 seconds, their heartbeats synchronize and they begin to heal each other. Oh, this is the most important thing about actually meeting with Mother, actually being in the presence of Holy Spirit, is that your heart starts to synchronize with her heart. Right. And you begin to heal on a soul level, on a physical level. You actually start to heal. You start to be transfigured. You start to be purified, because that's the true byproduct of authentic love. See, go back to the list that Mom gave me. She said love is all consuming, all accepting, all transforming. It has to be all of them for it to be love. Anything short, if it's all consuming but not all accepting, it's not love. It's not true love. If it's all accepting but it's not transforming, that's not love. And that's her standard. Love itself gave me her standard. Because it's a science. It's a pattern. You have to have the ability to transfigure. That's the consumption, meaning that there's nothing that I can encounter that my love cannot transfigure. That's one. All accepting means I can't stop people from benefiting from me. Right? If people choose not to benefit from you, that's their own thing. But you, as the priest, you as the one with the functioning heart, you have to stay open. So when you are functioning from the heart, you actually function more so as a living portal of transfiguration. That when people encounter you, remember that radius of the heart, about 8 to 10 feet, well, that's as close as people need to be to you to begin to be healed, to begin to be purified. And it's around that radius you'll begin to notice, okay, people are starting to avoid me. Why are they avoiding me? When I'm actually beginning to function in purity, not everyone wants to be pure yet. People still have free will. They don't want to take a bath. They're not going to take it. They're going to run from you. They're going to quantify it in some way to get rid of you, but it's their own choice. But that's the option, right? No one should be sitting in your presence as a son. No one should be sitting in your presence as a mystic and you're mature and they're not getting better while being around you. That shouldn't happen. And they're not getting transfigured. They're not being transformed. This is what we ridicule religion for, right? Sitting in a place for 20, 30, 40 years and you're the same. Likewise, people should not be in your presence frequently and not be getting better, not be transforming. Maybe at the level you're at, they're not going through a complete 180 the moment they get in front of you. That might not happen. That's fine. But if you're with somebody every day, week after week, they should be changing. Because that becomes two options, right? If you're really functioning in the heart flow of mom, people will have two options when in your presence. Either they stay and receive and they almost crave you, or they leave because they're not ready yet. You as the priest have to you have to become okay with that. Some people will not choose to be helped by you. Some people won't. Not yet. Some people might choose to get delivered by somebody. It's fine. It's fine. That's not the point. So when I'm talking about the Sekhmet Codes, same thing, really. It's being a force, cultivating the heart to the point where you radiate purity, where you're internally pure, your heart beating on the same frequency, you have the same rhythm of the heart that mother has, which means you love everything that she loves, which is everything, because that's her only nature. Her only nature is love. She is love itself. So that's the journey of cultivation, right? Really getting into it. So let's talk about some of these lion attributes, right? Because even this still deals with the heart. Remember, the heart is the largest electromagnetic organ. Lions are known for their ability to roar and set a radius of dominion. They set boundaries through their voice, through their frequency. That is the heart. Your heart sets your boundaries, and those boundaries are crossed before people even talk to you or before they touch you. What do people do within that 8 to 10 foot radius? It deals with the word, that which is spoken. But overall, it's the frequency of the self, because as the heart is, so is the rest of the body on both an electromagnetic level and on a substance level. Your blood is the information that tells everything in your body what it is, what it's supposed to be, the essence of itself. The heart releases essence to the rest of the body. Every part of the body needs blood. In order to live, blood is the life force. So the heart pushes that out all throughout yourself. You run out of blood, you pretty much run out of life. So that's one aspect. The other thing is the actual beating of the heart, the frequency of the heart. The heart is like a drum on the inside of yourself. This again is that frequency. Whatever the information of the heart is, the frequency of the heart is what yourself will be. It's a journey of transfiguration, even for yourself. That which you are is that which you release. If you don't like what you're releasing, change what you are. If you don't like what you're attracting, change what you are. In a way, you attract both your equal and your opposite. There's not much you can do about it. Sekhmet is the healer. The heart is the healer. The frequency of the heart is the healer, because healing is a byproduct of compassion. That's something that I've learned in my journey of being a healer. I was praying for the sick and seeing actual results since I was in high school. This has worked for me. And what I noticed is, you can heal pretty much anyone that you actually love and are willing to be the solution for. There are other attributes other than that, but that's one of them that shuts people down, is that they don't love people enough to actually help. That's the reason why that's the reason why our society is the way that it is. Most of us lack the mother's heart. I've heard it said before that if a child has daddy issues, they become a people pleaser. I like to say in that way they become mindless. But if they have mother issues, they become sociopaths, heartless. Most people are sociopaths. Not simply because they don't have an earthly mother, but because they've been denied access to their heavenly mother, the true mother, mother of all, Holy Spirit, mother, Sekhmet, whatever you want to call her. Different cultures call her different things. I call her what I want. And by denying the true source of love that you connected with, you've lost the ability. We've lost the ability to actually love creation, to love ourselves, to love our neighbor. You actually, if you think back to the commandment, right? Love your neighbor as yourself. That's really hard to do without mother. It's from mother that we learn how to love ourselves the way she loves us. And as we love ourselves from that standpoint, we then begin to love our neighbors. Someone who does not love themselves cannot take care of the world. Creation is groaning for the awakening of the sons because they need mother's heartbeat to revitalize it. And we're the carriers of that. Creation is groaning for people to reconnect with mom. This is half of it. To reconnect with mom. Become re-energized. Become synchronized again. Solutions form where compassion abounds. Oftentimes, solutions are stunted simply because people don't like the brainstorming process. You have to love people enough. You have to love the world enough in order to see its issues, dwell on those issues, and refuse to allow those issues to persist. A manifestation that is often mistaken as love, which is not love, is the ability to sit quietly by and keep the peace between abusers and victims. That is not love. I'm working on a series. I'm just giving y'all a heads up. I want to talk about why abusers thrive in religious settings. That's coming out soon, okay? So keep me to it. It'll have to be a multi-parter, but just know that's coming out. We have to get our heart right. And the only way is to spend time with mother. You have a mother. You have a complete family. I call them the royal family. The Hebrews call it Elohim. The Kemites say Neteru. But it's the same concept. It's a family. It's a divine and royal family. And you're included in that. And the one who can truly synchronize your heart is the mother that you received it from. And with that, I'll leave you. Links in the description down below. I have my mentorship course coming up soon. schooloftheempire.com if you're interested. Also, Patreon down below. Until next time. Also, let me know what are some other topics y'all would like for me to cover. Thanks.